Thank you for joining me today. I'm Sandra at Arty Card Air, and today I have these thank you cards which I've made for my customers. At the end of each month I like to send my customers a little thank you card with a little gift inside, and this month I've made these pretty little cards which I felt was worth a blog because I just think they're so pretty. Now I've made them using just half a sheet of A4 folded in half. I've put some little score lines across them, and I've used the Wildflower Fields designer paper which I got free because it's celebration. When you spend £45 you get to choose a free product from the little brochure, and this Wildflower Fields designer paper is so pretty for your projects that I cut some pieces of that to put on my cards. And I love flowers. As a flower arranger and a gardener, I love flowers, so most of my projects, if I can fit a flower on it, I will. So this flower is from the Birthday Blossoms stamp set. I really love this stamp set. I've already prepped this on the block to show you how to go about lining this up on the, because you use the pansy punch, which also coordinates. I recently did a project with the flower shop punch, and I showed you on Monday the 7th of March, I did a little Easter basket with flowers on using this flower shop punch, and I showed you how to line up your stamps. So that when you punched them out using this pansy punch, that instead of trying to manoeuvre this all the way around your flower to work out where to punch, if you line it up with the arrows that I've shown you in that blog, then you will stamp these out in next to no time, and believe me, it will save you a lot of time. So this same Birthday Blossom stamp set, this little flower here, uses this pansy punch the same, and so I have put an arrow on here which shows me where to stamp it out so that I can just punch them out straight away, no problem. So we're going to get started on this project, and I'll show you how I went about making them. So today I've got some Pacific Point cardstock. I've already cut out all my pieces. I realised afterwards that I had already stamped using the Whisper White. Let me just get that. It's here somewhere. Using this Whisper White pigment ink pad. It's very useful for when you use the darker colour cardstocks, like I've used Rich Raspberry cardstock here and this Pacific Point, all darker colours, and so it's easy to use this Whisper White pigment ink because then you don't have to add it on a raised up piece of card. You can just stamp straight down. So I will show you how I did that. I've cut a piece of Perfect Plum cardstock. This is half of a sheet of A4, which measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4, and I've cut the sheet in half and folded it. And then I've cut my designer series paper. This designer series paper, the Wildflower Fields, measures 5 7/8 by 2 inches, which is 15 by 5 centimetres. And I'm going to quickly show you how I stamped my sentiment out. I've taken the sentiment from the Fabulous 4. You've got 4 different sentiments. Sorry you're sick, get better quick, it's your day, celebrate, amazing, spectacular, fantastic you, and thanks very, 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 very much. So just 4 stamp sets, but very, very useful in a larger font. So I'm going to show you today. No, first off I need to do my scoring. Sorry, she's unorganised obviously. So getting my scoring board, I will show you how I did my scoring. So line it up in your scoring board, and we are going to score it at 6 inches and 8 1/4 and 8 inches. 6 inches and 8 inches. Is that right? 6 inches and 8 1/4 inches. So the 8 1/4 inches does come very close to that edge, but don't worry about it. So that's the scoring done, and you can see that that just gives you a little raised up detail. So I put my board away now, and now we are definitely going to stamp our sentiment. So using your white pigment ink, and today I've prepped up on my block, Sorry You're Sick, Get Better Quick. So line that up. And stamp down. And I hope that's straight. And then that needs to dry for a few minutes. So that's why I've prepped up this Pacific Point one. So I'm going to just set that aside to dry now. But you get the idea of how good that is on your darker coloured cardstocks. So we've scored it, we've put our sentiment on, and now we're going to glue down our designer series paper, which I've given you the measurements. So we're just going to set that in between those score lines that we've done. Like that. And I have prepped up 5 flowers. These are Calypso Coral, Pacific Point, and I've stamped them on the what's the paper? It's called shimmer paper, and it's Stampin' Up's version of watercolour paper. It's got a slight sheen to it, but it's brilliant for stamping out on and doing a bit of watercolouring, and I have shown you that before. I'm not going to show you how to do all of these, but I'm just going to do one for you. So I'm just going to use Tangerine Tango ink, because that's what I grabbed first. And then when I can find my prepped up stamp. So I explained to you, if you line it up with the arrow so that you know that that flower goes in the bottom of your punch. So we're going to stamp out a couple of those, and I used the watercolour paper so that I could do a little bit of watercolouring, not a lot. I used my aqua painter, and I didn't pick any colour up. I just put some water on it, and I just pulled in some of the colour like that. Because I didn't want it to be too dark, just a muted colour. Like that. So I think you get the idea of that. And then I got the green, so I'll just get this Wild Wasabi just to show you, and you can see where I've just squashed the pad and put a little bit of colour on the pad. I don't want too much, just a little touch of it. That's probably too much, but you get the idea of that, how I did that. So put that to one side. So now I'm going to show you how easy it is to punch these out when you've lined that flower up. You put it in your punch like that, and can you see how that instantly lines up perfectly with all those markings like that? Hope you can see that. And then you punch that out, and that saves you a lot of pain and heartache trying to wiggle it round and round to find where it punches out. So that's just a handy little tip from me today. So carrying on with our card, I'm just going to put these all on dimensionals, these little flowers, and using my bone folder I just pull the petals up a little bit just to give them a little bit more movement. So you do that on all 5 of them. There we are, and then a dimensional on the back of each one. Like that. So I've got 3 of the Calypso coral ones, so I'm going to put those on first, and I put the first one in the middle. You sort of gauge the middle, it's not scientific, you just eyeball it in really, and then you just manoeuvre your flowers in between. Like that. And then you'll have more time to me and you can just manoeuvre those about until you're happy. But I think that they look so pretty and I'm very, very pleased, and hopefully the recipients of my cards will be pleased with them too. So this is just a small selection of what I've made, and I think they look really pretty, especially with all the beautiful colours in the cards. So if you'd like a newsletter for me, or if you click in the down arrow if you're watching me on YouTube and you go to my blog, you will see photos and details of how to make these cards. And if you'd like a newsletter, send me an email to sandra.ronald1@btinternet.com. I'd love to hear what you think of my projects. So until the next time, bye!